Hello everyone, this is Mike Sangvi from vlemon.com and I'm back with another SQL Server video, and in this video we are going to install SQL Server 2016 in our machine. So let's start. And my setup disk for SQL Server 2016 is available on my desktop, so I'm going to open my desktop and my setup disk is available just here. And I'm using Windows 8.1, so I am able to mount it directly. So right click on your ISO image and say mount. And if your mount option is not available for your Windows, then you can use other third-party software to mount your ISO image. The best example or the free one is the Magic Disk. Okay. Now the next thing, I'm going to click on this setup to initiate my setup process. So double click on setup. And if user account control asks for your permission for program name SQL Server 2016 and verified publisher is Microsoft Corporation, then you have to click on yes. Now setup is extracting the initial setup files in the background, so we have to wait for few seconds. And this is SQL Server Installation Center, and right now in the technical preview of SQL Server 2016, the initial setup window is same as the previous version. So I'm going to click on installation link and I'm going to select new SQL Server standalone installation or add features to an existing installation. So click on this link to initiate the actual setup process. SQL Server 2016 CTP or Community Technology Preview 2.0 setup process, the current operation. Now in this you can decide what type of installation you want, and if you have a product key then you can enter the product key, and if you want a trial period of 180 days then you can select evolution, and if you want to use Express then you can install Express one. I'm not going to install Express one because I want the access to each and every available option in SQL Server 2016, so I'm going to select evolution of 180 days. Okay, and next you have to click on next button. You have to read all the license term, and if you are agree with the license term, you have to click on this checkbox, I accept the license term, and click on next. And now SQL Server is checking some rules. For me everything is fine, so global rules and product updates are skipped. Now install setup files. So scan for product updates, download setup files, extract the setup files and install the setup files. So for me all these steps are skipped. The next thing is SQL Server is checking for rules. For me everything is passed, and if in your scenario anything is failed, just leave the error message in the comment section. I will try to reply as soon as possible with the proper resolution. And if you want to check the exact error message, then you have to click on this link. Okay, so Windows Firewall, this is a warning, so we can ignore this. Click on next, and I want to install all the features with default, so I am going to click on this radio button and click on next. Okay, now SQL Server is automatically going to select all the available features, and this is not going to select polybase query service for external data and reporting services add in for SharePoint products. If you want this, then you can check this checkbox, but I'm not going to check this because I'm not going to integrate anything or I want to test anything with SharePoint. Okay, and next thing, if you want to change the installation root directly, then you can change it right now. But for my machine I have only one drive, C drive, so I am not able to change it. So I am going to use the same default port and click on next. And now I want to give an instance for my SQL Server 2016 setup. In my machine right now I have two SQL Server installation. One is Dev 12 for SQL Server 2012, it is a developer edition, and Dev 14 for SQL Server 2014, the edition is developer. I am going to give a Dev 16 for my SQL Server 2016 setup. Okay, and click on next. And now if you want to change any services to start manually or automatic, then you have to change it right now, or you can change it later after the installation is completed using SQL Server configuration manager. Okay, so right now I don't want to change anything. I'm going to click on next, and again, if you want to change the collation, I prefer the default collation. If you want to change the collation, then you can change it right now. Okay, so click on next to check the further setup windows. And now SQL Server is asking for authentication mode. I always prefer mixed modes. I'm going to provide the password for default user as a user. So the password I'm going to provide, this is my password for SA account. And if you want to change the data directory for your root directory, for your log files, your temporary database, then you have to change it. Again, I'm not able to change it because my system contains only one drive. Okay, so click on next to continue. And for analysis services, I want to add my current logged in user as a administration permission. So I'm going to click on add current user, and if you want to add some other user, then you have to click on this add button. But for me, I'm going to use add current user. The next thing, our current user is added as an administration for analysis service. So click on next, and for reporting services, I want to install the reporting services and I want to configure it. I'm not going to change this install and configuration radio button. So click on next. And now for distributed replay controller, I'm going to add current user. And for distributed replay client, I'm going to provide a controller name. I'm going to give it my Dev60. Click on next, and this is the summary of the current installation. If you want something, you want to change it, then you have to change it right now. And if you think everything is fine, then you are ready to install SQL Server 2016 in your machine. Just click on install button to start the actual installation. Okay, so click on install button, and now my installation is running. So we have to wait for a few seconds or few minutes until this setup process is installed everything.
Finally, our SQL Server 2016 setup is completed successfully, and in my next video I am going to show you the new features available inside SQL Server 2016. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to click on subscribe, like button, leave your feedback, and see you all in next video.